Today I'll be showing you how to make some amazing homemade shawarma chicken. And if you are one of those viewers who have seen everything leading up to this, and not all my videos, but everything for the shawarma, the pita, the toom, the pickled veggies, then thank you so much. It's really gonna pay off, and I promise it'll be the best shawarma ever. And I had it, and it's something very special, making it fresh at home. And it's more than just the flavor. You did it, and it's gonna turn out well if you follow it like I showed you. Now I'm using a combination of chicken breast and chicken thighs, and there's a whole assortment of spices. We'll get to that, but first add in your yogurt. The yogurt really helps to tenderize the meat, so I recommend you marinate this overnight. Then add in the olive oil, and now we get to the spices. So here we've got some black pepper, ground ginger, cinnamon, ground cloves, chili flakes, turmeric, and ground cumin. Of course, salt will be added later on. Then add in some minced cloves of garlic, and then squeeze the juice of one whole lemon. It's pretty large, so kind of judge it, but if you squeeze everything, it should be around a quarter cup of lemon juice. Okay, the salt goes in, and I know it may be hard to estimate how much to put. Always safer to put a bit less, and then once the marination is done, just cook a small piece. Once it's cooked, taste it, and then adjust as needed. But now you can just mix this all really well and let that just sit somewhere in your fridge. Now cooking it is where we have a disadvantage making this at home. We don't have that, I guess, vertical spit roast that you see, or the vertical rotisserie that you see at shawarma places, where the chicken just cooks low and slow and it rotates for the even cooking, the charring. So what we're doing here instead, to try to get close to that, is by just baking it in a single layer. So make sure nothing is like overlapping, not much is sticking. And once this is done cooking, then blasting it under the heat of the broiler to get some of that char. And the yogurt here will really help to achieve that. I of course chose to just dive in the deep end and not adjust my salt. Like I told you, if you weren't sure about, seasoning and estimation, but the seasoning here was on point. Now I can just transfer this over into a bowl or something, and let's take a look at the sandwich and the assembly. Now first thing that I did is to heat that pita for like 20-30 seconds to make it softer, to make it easier to roll, because it was sitting in the fridge. If you had at room temperature, if you just made it today or the day before, then you don't have to do this. Now something that I did notice is the ones that I baked in the oven and it puffed naturally in the oven, when I cut them, it had a much more even layer of thickness between the pocket, so top and bottom even. But the ones that I did over the direct heat, which did puff, well, it had a much thinner layer of the top part of the bread, the puffy part. So if you are making this at home, you're making the pita at home, then just keep in mind that you may not be able to effectively separate that into two equal sized and equal thickness halves. So you may just want to make a wrap with just that one whole bread without actually tearing it into two pieces like I have here. But you can see the oven baked ones, it's perfect. You put the toom right down the middle, helps to not only keep the toom flavor all over the sandwich, but to help stick the two pieces of pita. Now some greens go right in there, along with some tomatoes, the homemade pickled cucumbers, and the pickled beets as well. Now the chicken. Now I'm gonna just roughly slice the chicken that I had in my bowl here into smaller shreds or smaller pieces, and that's gonna help just evenly spread the chicken all throughout. You don't want clumps of the chicken in your mouth. It's just much more fun, I think, to have the flavor of the chicken and the chicken itself just spread evenly throughout that sandwich, so every bite is to die for. Now just put that chicken all over the center evenly, then roll up that sandwich as tightly as you can without exploding it. Dip it in that baking sheet. Don't throw that away. There's still a lot of use for it. Just rub all the juices that are left over your pita. You can even use a brush if you want. And then just toast that on a pan. Get that sandwich nice and toasted. It'll become light golden brown. And this shawarma sandwich is now ready. Now, is a sandwich really thick? Yeah, I made it that way. And if you saw my pita recipe, then you know how to adjust the size of the dough portions to get the size that really fits what you're looking for. But this sandwich here it's just too good. Like, I have a new favorite shawarma place close by, and while yes, there are some things that are great about it that I can't replicate at home, especially the vertical rotisserie chicken that they make. Just can't do that at home. But this comes very close to it. It's like 9 out of 10 or 8 and a 9 or 7. You know, it's just like right there. And that's actually amazing that you can do that at home. I hope you liked everything that I showed you to get to this point, to get your own shawarma chicken. And that toom, by the way, it's like used in this house almost every day now. It's almost replaced Indian chutneys or pickles. Toom all the way. I hope you got a lot out of all these videos, and I'll see you all on the next one.